Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome to the Pipe Report. So I know I said I was going to do a big dissection of the debate. I won't, though. I'm just going to give over my kind of perception of the debate. First and foremost, people might think I'm biased towards Ben Shapiro, and although I don't agree with everything he says, I do like the man because he is brilliant. That being said, though, I try to be unbiased in terms of debating. For example, Ann Coulter versus Anna Kasparian. I think Anna Kasparian actually won that debate. Not by a lot, but she did win. I think Ann Coulter probably won maybe the first half, maybe a little bit less. Then Anna Kasparian, she took it over at the end. Ann Coulter was kind of relying on more of immigration as a whole, how it affects negatively the country. Whereas Anna Kasparian kind of did use more facts, in my perception of that. That being said, this debate between Ben Shapiro and Cenk was a clear destruction. Ben Shapiro did win this debate by a lot. And here was my perception of the debate. It seemed like what would happen is Cenk would say something about a certain topic, and he would kind of give a broad generalization of the topic he was talking about. And then Ben would respond by just essentially debunking and dissecting everything Cenk said. And then when Cenk got the microphone back, instead of actually trying to rebut Ben Shapiro's rebuttal, he would then change tactics and he would go to a new topic. And then the microphone would go back to Ben Shapiro and he would once again debunk that new topic. So in essence, the whole thing of debate, the whole kind of, I guess you could say, structure of the debate was Cenk hopping from one pad to another, from one topic to another, and Ben Shapiro debunking everything he said, following him. It wasn't really a debate where a question was said, they both give their opinions. Cenk was on the defense, primarily. He was always on the defense, because Ben Shapiro, he had facts, and he had statistics, and he had, studies, and history, and everything on his side. Whereas Cenk, he was kind of arguing based on emotion. Another big thing about this, too, is that the reason why Cenk is viewed as being a great debater, even though I don't see it, but many people do think he's a great debater, and that is primarily because he always has the crowd on his side. If you actually watch any of his past debates, the crowd is always on his side, or it's on his own TV show, so he still has that same comfort zone. But like a good example is against his last year Politicon debate against Dinesh D'Souza, and he played their crowd a lot. Whenever Dinesh would bring something up, he would say like, "Oh, you're in prison, you were in prison, you know what you're talking about." And it was constant ad hominem attacks against Dinesh. And I think he did the same thing as Ann Coulter too. And he always had the support of his audience to help him. So he could say something outrageous and say something that was just, I guess you could say, mean, that had nothing to do with debate, just kind of attacking your opponent, and they would cheer him on, which incentivized him to continue to do that. But he couldn't do this with Shapiro, because Shapiro had just as many fans in the crowd as Cenk did. So I think Cenk saw that, so then he actually tried to do a debate, actually, where he would try to give off his facts and go against Ben's facts and try to convince the crowd who was right. But instead, he didn't do that. He kept running away from Ben. Every time Ben would begin speaking and challenge him to a question, he would divert. Cenk would divert from that question Ben asked him and go off in a different direction. And then Ben would respond by debunking that and ask him another question, and he would once again deviate from that structure. So you could definitely tell who was on the offense and who was on the defense in this debate. And I think most of the people who watched it, even people on the hardcore left, would agree with me that Cenk did lose the debate. He may have won some portions of it. He may have won the money and politics side, but overall, based on knowledge, based on structure, based on statistics, facts, analysis, everything like that, Ben Shapiro was the clear victor. Now, that's not really saying much because, let's face it, does Ben Shapiro ever lose in a debate? Even if you don't agree with anything he says, you can understand his point of view based on his knowledge and examples and studies that he uses to correspond to that point of view. I mean, the man is brilliant. He's a brilliant debater. He spends his life traveling to different universities and debating against liberal college students and teachers. So he does have a lot of experience in this. So I think Cenk understood that. Cenk couldn't attack Ben the way he attacked Dinesh. because he knew Ben would call him on it. He knew Ben would say that's a liberal debate tactic, that you're trying to blah blah blah, and it doesn't work. And then Cenk would be made like a fool who is following a set playbook. So I think he did try to actually beat Ben at Ben's own game, in essence, in the sense that they were debating on facts and statistics. But Cenk definitely came out behind here. He seemed lost, and he was arguing when he began talking about economics. You could tell he was absolutely lost, and he doesn't understand economics at all. Ben Shapiro doesn't have a degree in economics either, but Ben Shapiro understands basic economics, and Cenk didn't. Cenk was trying to argue that it's unfair that the rich are rich and the poor are poor, but he wasn't really making any type of strive or any type of reasoning to explain why that is and how to fix that. Whereas Ben did explain how and why that is and how to fix it. What's more is that a couple times Cenk was trying to put Ben into a category that Ben conformed with the Republicans in Congress and a lot of the Republicans in the media. And Ben said no. He's upset with the Republican Party just as much as the Democratic Party, because it is horrible. Both parties are horrible. The two-party system is fundamentally flawed. And Ben Shapiro is primarily a libertarian at heart, not a Republican. So I think that was also key as well, that Cenk tried to put Ben in a certain category, and Ben denied it because he isn't a Republican. So there's a few things on there. Overall, it was a fun debate to watch. Ben Shapiro did get angry a couple times at the end here. I don't know why he got angry, though. I think maybe it's just overkill. I don't think he really had to get upset, but I guess sometimes when you're talking to somebody who keeps changing the subject and doesn't answer the question and who remains ignorant of certain facts, I guess it could get stressful, but for the most part, I don't think Ben should have been angry at those certain points. He could have continued doing what he was doing in a professional way. He didn't have to make the type of attacks he did at times, although some of them were quite funny. Not gonna lie, some of them actually were pretty funny. So that is essentially it. I mean, it was a pretty one-sided debate. It was a bloodbath, and Cenk was the clear loser of the debate. I don't think even his hardcore supporters could deny that fact if they actually watched the debate. I'm sure some of them will, but deep down, I'm sure most of them think, or most of them know, that Cenk did in fact lose. It was a bloodbath. It was destruction, and yeah, I think it was fun to watch, though. I would definitely have to watch it again because this was a good debate. I recommend everyone watch it. And it was the progressive vision versus the conservative libertarian vision, and it was interesting to see both people delineate their ideas of what they perceived happening, what was happening in the world. And Ben was the clear winner, and he did come out on top. And I'm done.